All right, if you watch part one where we worked on mobility, your toes, midfoot, and ankle should be moving a little bit better, or at least have some less stiffness. Now I'm going to teach you how to start stabilizing your foot so then you can hold on to those changes for longer periods of time. All we need to do is be sitting for this. Of course, let the puppies breathe, take the socks off. We're going to be just doing a little bit of toe yoga, or toga for slang. First thing I'm going to do is just flutter my toes, make sure I can move them all. If you can't, then you might have a bigger issue going on. But now that I got some blood flow to that area, first thing I'm going to do is plant my big toes into the ground and then slowly try to bring out my outside four toes here, all right? Now I'm going to do the opposite. Now I'm going to plant the lateral four toes and then try to bring up my big toe. I can tell I'm struggling a little bit harder on this side. I need a little bit more awareness, but we're going to keep practicing back and forth here. Hey, there we go. I'm already getting a little bit better on my right side here. And the more you do this, the easier it should be. Most people, if you've never done this before, you're not going to be able to do much toe dissociation. So just keep practicing. It'll get easier and easier as you do more. All right, now that we got the toes moving better, next we're going to train more of the intrinsic foot muscles, specifically to help maintain a good, healthy arch. So if you look at me from the side here, the most important thing is trying to keep that big toe planted, especially when you're going to be doing an activity such as a squat. So if you look at me from the side, if I'm just willy-nilly soft here, actually I have a decent arch to begin with, but if I plant that big toe into the ground, just the big toe, you can see that arch starts to form a little bit higher, okay? So that's the activity we're looking for. Now this is a good exercise on its own, just cycling back and forth to feel that awareness. I can already feel the medial aspect of my arch working a lot more. But when the heck do we ever just need to isolate putting our toe into the ground? We want to be more functional, as the gurus tell us. So what you want to do from a seated position, same thing. We're going to just plant big toe into the ground. You can see your arch starting to form, and then from this position I'm going to lean forward and simply start to stand up. Now I'm going to keep driving that toe into the ground as I start to squat back down to the chair. Voila, simple, right? And then we're just going to repeat this for about 10 reps here. And you'd be surprised how much you feel your foot working at the end of this drill. All right, last one here as I come back down. This is such an easy way to start training your toe dissociation, as we call it, or toga, along with training the arch of your foot and those intrinsic foot muscles. Just these two exercises, doing them a couple times a day for about 2 weeks, you're going to feel a lot more stable, especially if you're marrying it with those mobility stretches in part one over here. And then after 2 weeks of practicing this, when you go back to your normal exercises, again, I always advocate training barefoot as much as you can so you can really grip the ground. But whether you're doing a lunge, a squat, or even a deadlifting type activity, if you got good foot control and stability, you are going to feel way more planted to the ground and you're going to get that strength that you've been looking for. Bonus tip. Foot spreaders, super cheap. You can get them on Amazon. I'll link it in the description. But you can use these rubber guys to help spread that foot for you while you work out, walk around the house. I don't care what you do, but it helps you strengthen your foot without even trying, really. So as you can tell with the toe spreaders, it already naturally splays those toes for you, opposed to just having your normal foot. There's nothing wrong with being barefoot, but if we're trying to train those intrinsic foot muscles, we want those toes to splay out as much as possible. These are kind of a cheat code and they're super cheap, and I'll link an Amazon link for you where you could just put these on for a couple hours a day and then just go do your normal activities, whether you're working out or doing chores around the house, or even just sitting around lounging having a good time. You can start training your intrinsic foot muscles without even having to think about it. So if these toe spreaders interest you, I'll link those in the description. All right, in part one, I showed you how to mobilize the foot. Part two, I'm teaching you how to stabilize with your toes and your midfoot. Like I already mentioned, give these a go a couple times a day for a few weeks and you'd be surprised at the changes you feel. If you like this kind of content where I show you how to mobilize an area, part 1, and then teach you how to stabilize it, part 2, so you can hold on to those changes. Comment down below what body area you want to see next, or just comment whatever you want to see. I'll make it for you, all right? Like, subscribe, blah, 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 you know what to do.